Boeing ended the day right at that 294 mark, down around 37 cents from yesterday's trading session. Although we did have that big drawdown pre-market in here today, about $4 drop in here overall, and then more or less flat on the day. It looks like the overall sentiment in Boeing is going to be inverse compared to the overall markets, whereas the spiders and the Qs obviously had that big gap up and then a kind of grind higher in here today, and where everybody's kind of hedging to the downside, right? So big grind higher, everybody's hedging to the downside. Boeing drawdown pre-market flat on the day at close, and it looks like everybody's hedging to the upside. Now, why are we saying that? Well, that's because your put call ratio is around 0.5, your open interest put call ratio 0.9, and the overall inflow in here was call dominant. So basically, everybody's kind of skewing in here to the upside. So it looks like overall that is where your risk is going to be placed as of today. So that's just what the options are telling us today in here in Boeing. Now, technically, where does this kind of put us at? Well, RSI in here kind of trading a little bit above neutral, 58. So we still have a ways to go here on the weekly before we get overbought in here. We're sitting right on that 9-day EMA and that 196 94 resistance. So that's kind of matching up for us right here. I'm sorry, a support kind of matching up for us right here as a nice place for us to gather some footing before we start ripping higher in here. 206 is going to be a level in here we're going to watch, but really 200 psychological level, you can kind of chalk it up to that as a place for us to be kind of playing with. Obviously, we're above that about 94 cents right now. So kind of take it or leave it, right? We're not going to put too much credit in there, or we're not going to put all our eggs on the basket as 200 being like that's going to be our main support in here. And it's also, if we break below it, it's going to be our main resistance. It's going to go either way. So we got to give ourselves about $6 on the upside to those 206, and then about $4 on the downside to the 196. So that's why we're saying that as our support and our resistances. Anything above that, we're looking at this 215 level up in here on the weekly chart. Now, if we go to the daily chart in here, you kind of see where your volatility has been. You can see your RSI has been basically reset in here. It's below neutral, right around that 48 mark in here. So obviously, a little cup being formed in here after that gap down. We have to fill this gap at some point. So maybe that's why everybody's hedging in here. We started out obviously today above that 9-day EMA in here that's currently trading at 202, but we obviously finished below that in here. So it looks like we do have a little bit of footing in here, as you can see, for the past week or so. And perhaps that's why everybody's kind of playing this thing to the upside. But again, we'll kind of have to wait and see. That's just what happened today. So obviously, sometimes when you have big drawdowns, pre-market and things like that, everybody kind of hedges to the upside in here because they're waiting for a pop or something like that. And obviously it never came today. So maybe that is just what happened in here overall, but we're just kind of repeating what the options were kind of telling us overall in here. Now your IV rank is relatively low in here compared to itself. So perhaps a bigger drawdown would kick in some more volatility for us. So perhaps a nice pullback in here again to the 196 is to fully reset this RSI on the daily would give us a nice little break in here and a nice bounce to kind of climb higher. But overall, your volatility is only pricing in right around a $4 expected move by this Friday, next Friday, right around 618. You go all the way out to your July monthlies, right around $11 expected move is what everybody's pricing in. So again, overall, sentiment was a little bit inverse compared to what the overall markets are telling us. We're kind of leaning bullish in here, whereas everything was kind of skewed to the bear side in the markets, just because that's kind of where everybody's placing their hedges. So we'll see what happens as we work our way throughout this next 3 trading sessions to kind of close the week. But 196, 206, that's what we're looking at in here level wise. Technically, for our RSI and volume, nothing really to worry about in here. Options chain is kind of telling us, hey, a $4 expected move by this Friday. And it looks like everybody was kind of skewing everything to the call side in here. So we'll see what happens as we're working our way above that 206, or we're getting close to it again. If not, and we're pulling back, then we're going to be below the 200. And it looks like the 196 is going to be a perfect place for us to set up shop before we work our way higher once more. All right, guys, if you like this video, make sure to check us out on all of our social media. We also have a Discord service if you are interested, and you can find all of our socials in the description below.